let's play some Mage Knight, or more accurately, let's replay some Mage Knight. I've got a game of Mage Knight Solo Conquest that I actually have already played. So what I'm going to be doing is replaying the game, move for move, and analyzing it, hopefully finding out what moves could I have done better, where did I make mistakes. I've been playing this game for a little while now. I've got maybe 35 games in. I average probably about 175 points a game, something around there. I've been over 200 maybe 5 or 6 times. And in trying to figure out how to get better at this, I thought this would be a way to force myself to actually analyze a game that I had played. Then I thought, well, I might as well record it. And I'm kind of wondering if this might not be a more entertaining way to watch Mage Knight, because I'll have all of the foresight of what's going to happen next and be able to explore things maybe a little more deeply than if I was trying to figure this out in the moment. So hopefully you learn something from watching this. Hopefully you teach me something while watching this. And let's get started. So standard solo conquest, 2 cities, level 5 and 8. We're using Tovak. He was randomly selected along with the dummy partner of Goldix. So since I have been away from Mage Knight for about 6 months, Tovak's a nice ease back into the warm bathwater of Mage Knight, since he's reasonably straightforward, and Goldix has some nice reasonably straightforward skills. We are playing on the Mage Knight Tabletop Simulator mod. I believe it's the one called Highly Scripted, which is fantastic. You'll hear me raving about this many times, and hopefully as we go I'll be able to show off the mod and some of the cool stuff that it can do. I have made one modification. I'm not a tabletop simulator master by any stretch of the imagination, but I added this little table shelf here that I found on the workshop. And I'm not going to do this before every round, but we will do it this first time just so you guys can see what I'm doing. Shuffle that so I don't get any information that I'm not supposed to have. And I also got this little dealing component that I found on the workshop to deal out my deck. Now I can take all the cards that I have been dealt. Which one am I missing? Instinct. There we go. And that will allow me to organize these in a way so I know what's in my deck without having to actually remember it, which is great, because I often forget what's in my deck. So 11 cards, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. All right, we're good to go. So as we draw cards, we'll be able to update this, and then we'll all be able to see what's remaining in our deck. Let's take a look at the map. All right, we've got 2 mage towers. We've got a dungeon over here, a keep, a juicy-looking blue altar, and some ironclads here. Good to see ironclads because they've got a fame of 4. Bad to see ironclads because concentration plus swiftness does not kill them with their physical resistance and 3 armor. And they also swing for 8, which at your default armor of 2 is 4 wounds, which tends to hurt a bit in the opening. Also, no monasteries and no villages. Why is that relevant? Because let's go over to the offer and look at our units. Recruited in a keep, recruited in a keep in a village, recruited in a keep in a village. So it does not appear that I am going to have an easy path to units on this very first day. Let's take a look at the rest of the offer. We've got Heroic Tail, Temporal Portal, Shield Bash. Don't care about Heroic Portal Tail. Care a little bit about Temporal Portal. Don't really care about Shield Bash. I've got Cold Toughness, which is a great block card, which is also blue. Let's go down and look at the spells. This is much better. All 3 of these I think are great. Tremor is such a beast when it comes to sieging cities in solo conquest. I've always had good luck with space bending, and Snowstorm, getting siege ice attack 8 is pretty bonkers when it comes to cities. So the spell offer doesn't look too bad. Let's figure out what we're going to do during this first day. So our options are, number 1, we could go up to this dungeon. Problem with that is we're going to be trapped here. We can't explore here. That's outside of the coastline. This is the coastline tile that would be right here. So the only thing we'd be able to do is actually have to backtrack and hook around through this mage tower and then come up this way. So that doesn't seem terribly attractive, especially given that there's these 2 4 movement spaces that we'd have to get through as well. we've got the Ironclads, which will give us a level up. We've got a Mage Tower here, then we've got this altar, which I really tried to gun for. And then maybe this keep is interesting, exploring here. So looks like the first path is going to be this way. Now let's pick our tactics for the day. Where'd 6 go? What? 6 is so garbage. It just didn't even want to draw it. It was so bad. Okay. So, early bird, rethink, Mana Steel, planning, and great start. Because I'm not planning on doing a whole lot in this first turn. You know, if you look at my hand, my hand's not that bad. I mean, I've got Concentration Swiftness, so I'm not really looking to get rid of that. I've got Crystallize, which doesn't do much for me. So I think I'm going to take probably a reasonably slow turn, and a very, very high probability I'm going to have more than 2 cards. So I ended up taking Planning. And sure enough, that's what I took, and the dummy took Rethink. So I actually played 3 games, and I'm going to try to record and analyze all 3. I think in games 2 and 3, I played tactics better than I did in this game, but we'll have to see as we go through it. So let's get started. Turn 1, day 1. Goldix is the first player. He draws his 3 cards. He's got 13 cards still left in the deck. So I had the monster of a turn of playing Stamina, moving into these planes, playing Crystallize with a red die, creating a red crystal, and that was the end of my turn. This die goes back to the source and got rerolled as a gold. And we will clear things up and go on to the next turn. I mean, this mod is just amazing. It knew that I had planning, drew my extra card, so I don't have to forget that every other turn like I do when I play the physical version. Goldix goes, draws 4 cards, still not in his and or her deck. I'll refer to Goldix as a he. Yeah, that's what I'm going to go with. So this turn is a little more interesting. The first thing I got to do is take out these Ironclads, so I provoke them. By simply dropping it in my area, it knows that I should gain a rep, and I'm going to gain 4 fame. Also amazing. And first we got to take care of this pretty beefy 8 attack. And I took care of that by playing Instinct with a red crystal to generate block 4, taking care of its attack. And then good old standby, Concentration Swiftness with a green die, and Threaten to come up with my 6 attack. I pitched Threaten because, again, based on the locations that we have and based on the offer units, wasn't really too concerned about generating influence this very first turn. Okay, and that was the end of the turn. And the green die is returned to the source and re-rolled as a blue. Let's end our turn and do our very first level up. Woohoo! Alright, so skills. We have Motivation and we have Mana Overload. Both of these are actually kind of similar, other than Mana Overload has 1,000 more words, and it's one of the goofy co-op skills. But basically what Mana Overload does is it allows you to take a token of any color, including black, which is pretty handy, and then not until a following turn do you have to play a card, use the same color mana that you used in the very first place to get the token. That allows you then to get +4 on that card as long as it's one of the standard move, block, influence, etc. So in a way, +4 is kind of like 2 cards. So in a way, it gives you a token followed by 2 cards, but in a following turn, and you have to pay another card and a token. Motivation just gives you 2 cards and a blue token right up front, which I definitely think is the superior option, which is the one that I took. Now, as far as advanced actions go, Influence is not going to do anything for me right now. Temporal Portal, getting some movement, is always, probably the best of these 3 options. Again, Shield Bash doesn't thrill me too much because I've already got a really good block card. So I ended up going with Temporal Portal. And I think, as you'll find, Temporal Portal actually ended up being a really good card this game, probably better than I had given it credit for in the past. All right, we move on to the next turn. Goldix draws his cards. He still has 6 cards left. Decided to take another slow turn here. I'm really starting to salivate over this blue altar, and you'll definitely see over the next several turns I'm trying to figure out how to get through this mage tower and preserve the opportunity to be able to plop off 3 crystals. One of the other reasons of taking motivation was it generates a blue crystal. I've got gold in the source. I just drew mana draw between the gold die, mana draw. I get 2 blue crystals. I get a blue crystal from here, or token, excuse me, from here. 2 blue tokens, blue token from here. Boom, altar would be done. But first, I got to find out what's in this mage tower. So I play March and Promise, again, not caring about influence, to go up on the hill to check out what there is to see, and it is the Illusionists, which hit pretty hard. You know, they summon a brown enemy, which can have a lot of nasty attacks, and then they have 3 physical resistant armor, which is also fortified, so the equivalent of armor 6 fortified. And I decide to just end my turn here and redrop some more cards. I couldn't figure out a way with this combination of cards to preserve the ability to hold on to mana draw, hold on to this gold die, not use this until I need it on top of that altar. So because of planning, I thought we can slow it down a little bit and draw a couple of cards. I rarely have any trouble staying ahead of the dummy in the very first day. And we drew our 2 movement cards. Now, one thing we have not been doing is keeping up with this handy-dandy exercise down here, so we can do that now. Let's see. Oops. Yep, these 2 we also played. And we got 3 cards left. We just drew these 2. And so we got our 2 fight cards and our Tranquility at the end. Oh, never sad to see Tranquility at the very end. Gives you an opportunity to take some wounds and soak them up. So Goldex plays, still has 3 cards remaining, so we know that we've got a couple of turns left. So how did we take on these Illusionists? It's great. You just plop the Illusionists down here in your play area. It knows you need to take a mark of shame to your reputation and Game 4 fame. Again, real nice. And how did we kill these Illusionists? Well, first we needed to see what they're going to hit us with. And they summon in a Hydra. So not the worst, not the best. I decided to take 3 wounds to the face. Oh, I first needed to move into the city with stamina. Sorry about that. Next, I played Swiftness with the gold die. I played Cold Toughness and March for 3, 5, 6 damage to take out the Illusionist. Now, you might be asking, why did I use the gold die? I've been going on and on about this mana draw, gold die, get on this ruin nonsense. Well, I couldn't figure out a way to kill these Illusionists and keep the right amount of dice to go get this ruin in only the turns that I had remaining. I could have waited, maybe tried to pull in these rage cards, but because of these wounds, I would have had to take a turn to rest to get... I can't go through all the permutations now, but I could not, for the life of me, figure out how to do what I needed to do without expending this gold die. Now, all I need is for this gold die to reroll white or gold, and I'm right back in the action. And of course, so we end our turn, we put the dice back into the source, and we roll a red. So not super helpful. Let me get this out of here so we don't accidentally get the fame for it. And let's finish our turn and level up. Alright, let's mark our territory. That tower is mine. Let's go get our rewards. Again, for spells, like all of these, I've already got, some blue hungry things, Temporal Portal, Cold Toughness. So I decided to take Tremor. This card is just such a beast with Earthquake, taking armor -6 on fortified enemies, and you'll see this card do a lot of work. So I took Tremor as my reward from the Mage Tower. And we have claimed our rewards. Sorry, my mistake. That was not a... it was a level up, but all we did was getting a command token. so no decisions to be made there. Dummy player draws the remaining last of their 3 cards. And now, still don't have what it takes to get this ruin, to get this blue altar. So what I decided to do was play Temporal Portal with the blue die and give myself one more chance to roll a gold or a white. I've only got one more turn after this, and I have to interact with this thing, not to mention move on top of it. So it all comes down to this roll. And this is all I decided to do for this turn. I can't flip motivation yet because I need to use that token the turn that I generated. So we use Temporal Portal to move onto the ruin. And it rerolls gold. What do you know? So got a little lucky there, but there is a 55% chance over 2 rolls needing 2 sides of the die in either of those rolls. So I don't know, created a little of my own luck there, but did get fortunate that it came up with what I needed. All right, and Goldix calls end of round. I think when I played this the first time, I forgot the Temporal Portal actually should increase my hand size by 2. I end up flipping motivation anyway, so it ends up not really mattering, but let's just say we used it for Temporal Portal, which ends up drawing the remaining cards in our hand. And moment I've been dreaming about for so long, but before that, we do a little exploring with the classic combination of Rage for 2 movement. And we explore this tile right here. Interesting tile. Bad news is these hags. These hags make this keep pretty much completely uninteresting now. Because if I'm going to go this way, I would end up having to kill these hags. And for 3 fame, the amount of resources that it takes to do that just does not seem very attractive at all. Got a Mana Glade, which is always good. Maybe they'll get some familiars, maybe in the next round. Another Mage Tower, still no villages, still no monasteries. We have a mine here. Also a really key position right here. Throw a few more of these out here. From this spot here, you can actually explore into these 2 tiles from that same spot, which is always something you want to take advantage of when you can. Now that we've done our exploring, I quickly heal a wound with Tranquility, and flip this, get my token, play mana draw, gold die, set this blue, get 2 more, with trembling hands place them upon the altar, and get my 7 fame. It's the end of the day, so I'm not really sure what this gold rerolls as. Doesn't really matter what it rerolls as. Let's just call it that. And let's end our turn, and ultimately end the round. First, let's mark this territory. Our combat rewards was the 7 fame, so let's go ahead and get our next level up. Pretty good skills. Feel No Pain, Double Time, Red Crystal Craft. Smart guy probably takes movement. I only have 2 wounds, and I'm not really feeling the Feel No Pain. Maybe it would be useful next day. Maybe not. Looking at the advanced actions, already have a good movement card. Not terribly interested in Steady Tempo. Heroic Tail's definitely a no. And that really leaves me with Shield Bash, which I ended up taking. And so between Shield Bash, Cold Toughness, Temporal Portal, I'm still interested in this Snowstorm, which is also blue. I felt that it made sense to get Red Crystal Craft. So Shield Bash, Red Crystal Craft are now mine. And because we are at the end of the round, there we go, I elected to take Steady Tempo to put on into the discard pile with the Control the Offers variant. I forgot to mention we're playing with 2 variants, random rotation of tiles and the Control of the Offers, to be able to optionally throw away these middle actions and spells if we so choose, just so that we can see a little bit more. And that should do it. So, end of the first day. Let's take a quick recap of what we accomplished. We started off through here, killed ourselves some ironclads, got a level up, went into the mage towers, took on those were they sorcerers, were they illusionists? Illusionists. Took on those illusionists, picked ourselves up a tremor, and most excitingly, successfully completed the blue altar and got ourselves a well-deserved 7 fame. And we explored a tile. Bad news, we got no units, never really had any chance to get units. Good news, we actually got to level 4. We were able to do that because 4 fame for the ironclads, 4 fame for the illusionist, and then 7 fame for the altar. We just squeaked over into becoming a level 4. I actually tried to get to level 4 by during the first night. So to be able to get there during the first day is pretty amazing. But so all in all, I think it was a good day. Got ourselves some more power. Didn't explore too terrible much, but we've got some interesting things ahead of us and got some really nice level ups headed into the evening. So we will be right back and on to night number 1.